A couple of weeks ago, my mate Ollie Lambert and I came back from our second trip to Ukraine. We went in February, which was freezing cold. This time we went, obviously, and it was very different. And apart from an interesting trip out, this time we went via some deep mines in Silesia, which the Germans had built to hide their munition making from prying eyes. We went via Colditz, did a couple of other things like that. So we're due to meet all the other protagonists in Auschwitz, which it might seem a strange place to meet, but there's a very good hotel there called the Hotel Imperiale, which has a big area for everyone to meet. We're currently in a place called Yelenia Gora, which is a place which the Nazis, it was one of the sort of places that they wanted to have big underground bunkers. This is the day when we're going into Ukraine, and because Auschwitz is very, very close, we've come again to Auschwitz. What a lot of people don't know about Auschwitz, we've been around the sort of external bit of the camp looking at some of the original gas chambers they built before they built this, which was the death camp here, which is called Auschwitz II, Birkenau. It's the one everyone associates with it. And actually about a mile away over there, there's the original work camp, Auschwitz I, which is the one where the commandant lived and where, if you've seen the film Zone of Interest, that's where the house is. But this was built later in 42, 43. So it's been interesting visiting that. But what a lot of people don't know is this building here looks obviously suspiciously like the gatehouse just down the road, down there behind us, which is the railhead that everyone knows is famous from the pictures. A lot of people don't know is that this was being built right at the end of the war to double, well not double, but maybe add 50% to the size of the camp. And that's the railway that would have come through this.
So this would have serviced another two gas chambers, and as you say, an area about 40 or 50% increase in size. And of course we went over to where the little red house is, which is where this really all started. We're taking an existing building, getting rid of the locals and gassing people in the red house, then moving on to the white house, which is back behind us, which could take 1,000 people a day, which I find extraordinary. And people don't seem to visit those. I mean, we're up here being around this area, and we have not seen another car at all. It's quite bizarre.
Not one.
And yet this is kind of a critical part of this hideous chronology. Quite strange.
But a lot of people don't realise that this behind us here was abandoned. They built it, and then it was abandoned in 45 when the approaching Soviets made them all disappear and everyone went off on the death marches. But it's very, very clear, if you look behind us, as I said, that there's a railway line that would have gone down here through that, and now slightly oddly in 1982 it became a church. Well, it's mainly an unusual, well, it is an unusual format for a church, but it's also unusual knowing what the history of it was. Anyway, just something that a lot of people don't know about Auschwitz.
Well, I think if somebody is visiting, then looking at the Red House, the memorials around there and the White House are critical.
Interesting bit of chronology and history. This particular trip was very different because when we were there in February, we asked the guys who were flying the drones around what they needed, and what they said they wanted was trailers. So with the very kind help of donator Quail Digital, they make headsets, do look them up, we bought a large number of trailers from a company based in Blackburn called Indespension, because what the drone pilots had said they wanted was they wanted to be autonomous in the field, which meant that rather than relying on support vehicles, a small single axle trailer would make all the difference because they could be completely autonomous. You can see PB2, as we call her, with the trailers. We've got 2 drawbar and wheel combos and a whole load of side panels ready to go. The old 3.2 litre Ford Ranger ready to head into Ukraine.
We've checked underneath. No, we're not doing much leakage.
Yep, there's not much leakage underneath.
None
yep.
This morning.
I haven't had a look, so I don't want to discover anything. We have had 1 or 2 fallouts already on the trip. A couple of really adventurous young girls, literally straight out of university, which is fantastic, driving a Mitsubishi, had a torn hose yesterday, so they're off in Dresden trying to find someone to fix that.
We passed them because they were stuck going at 60.
Yes, as another bunch of people discovered when they were just leaving, they had a car that was governed to 70, which obviously when you're travelling 1,800 kilometres isn't ideal. But and also they discovered their air conditioning wasn't working.
And it's been incredibly hot.
So we arrived out there with a whole load of these trailers flat packed, which was wonderful, having had the usual problems crossing the border, etc., etc.
There's another red light ahead. Are we going to go through it?
I have to say the police are doing. Look at Rupert, he's so British, sticking his hand again. Thank you.
We haven't mentioned one very important thing, and that's the Star Bar, which is the official convoy confectionery. We've been using these quite extensively, and there are a few more in there.
Only 29 out of 100 on the Yucca scale.
But the Fruitalicious are
54.
54. Amazing. Wonderful.
What you can see if you look out the window there, that is Ukrainian border, which we've just come through with a lot less hassle than we did last time. There's Mr. Chatty over there, who has only driven for about 2 miles. 10 seconds of starting driving, he was doing over 100 miles an hour. He was booted back into this seat again.
I took
And
him
then
on a
just
very
as we
I took him on a
approached-
very challenging corner that was tightening up, and I just kept it very steady. There was no squealing of tires or graunching like it would have been with Ed.
It's the front over there, the front, that's the border. So we're about to meet up with our big convoy and go heading off into Lviv, so more and on. It was a smaller trip this time. We'd organised for a lot of younger people to go, which was fantastic. And thank you again to everyone who supported us. But when we arrived with all these flat pack trailers, the soldiers we were delivering to got incredibly excited that the trailers had arrived and held up a transport that was leaving from the military base just outside Lviv in order to put the trailers straight on the transport, which was really emotional, actually, I have to say. And the general feeling on this particular trip was it was hotter, so there were more people out and about, but it still had that slightly forced feeling you get. Everything seemed slightly too good to be true. There was definitely a strong feeling. And actually, since we've come back, there have been some terrible raids on Lviv. We did have an air raid while we were there. We all had to go and disappear off into the air shelter, into the air raid shelter for the night. And we had some spectacular meetings while we were there with some people from the army and some demonstrations and things. And there is clearly still a very strong need, ever more strong, for support, humanitarian help. Interestingly, not a lot of other European countries do what we do in the UK, which is do trips out with humanitarian aid and one-on-one help, things like delivering trailers and things like that. Most of the European governments tend to do, or most of the European populations, it seems, do most of the stuff through their government. But I was very proud to be a part of another trip out there, and we will be doing another one. So if you're thinking about it, and there were 3 people that got back to me after my post before we left who were very keen on coming out. I will be contacting you again, so don't think you've got away with it. But if there's anybody else out there who thinks they'd like to do a trip, obviously this was organised again by Pickups for Peace, or it was run by Pickups for Peace. And we delivered a load of pickups, and again, along with some aid, drone detectors and the trailers and various other things. So well worthwhile, very interesting, and I'd look forward to talking to anybody who feels they want to pitch in and help next time. So thank you very much again for all your support.